I'm Vinny Politan. We're talking about the sheriff, the judge in Kentucky. And I'm going to play during this program these recordings of a woman who is making allegations that will take this case, the taking out of the judge in his own chambers, which is as wild as it gets, right? On video in his chambers by the sheriff. But now this twist in the case, this twist takes it to the next level. And it involves allegations being made against the judge, against the sheriff. And it makes you wonder what on earth is going on in Letcher County, Kentucky. This is beyond outrageous. Beyond outrageous. You know, it began with the bizarre taking out of the judge by the sheriff. And now, you know, another twist, another turn, more evidence. Things are starting to bubble to the surface. People know in Kentucky, but the people who know are the ones not talking. The ones who know are the ones not talking. But this woman did. It's on recording. I'm going to play that recording for you. And then I'm going to take the pieces of this story and put them together, because this is now another whole crazy turn in all of this. It's Sunday night, special Sunday night edition. And this is Vinny Live.
Hey, get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. Get ready to post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set to like and to subscribe. Let's go. It's time for Vinny Live.
So glad you can make it on a Sunday night. It's just, you know, like last minute. I never know when I'm going live. That's one of my goals for 25, to have a more regular schedule. But I got to get organized. And that is the big challenge. That is the big challenge in my life. You know, I'm the host of that of two shows every night on Court TV. Johnny Supertramp doesn't like the intro. Johnny Supertramp 10. I don't like the intro. All right. Some do, some don't, but everyone recognizes it. And that's the key to a theme song. It's got to be unique, recognizable, and consistent. Oh, and Soper Girl is joining us from Kentucky. This is a crazy case. Love you all. Thank you, Vinny. Yeah, this is one for the ages, right? So I think you all know what the initial story is that it's seemingly a normal day in Letcher County, Kentucky, small community. Whitesboro is the town. I think there's less than 2,000 people that live there in the county seat of Whitesboro. And the sheriff and the judge go out to lunch. Okay, they have lunch together, and something happens at lunch, because during the lunch, the judge says, "Hey, do you think we should have a private meeting about this?" And apparently, there's some text messages that are sent at lunchtime about whatever this discussion was. So it seemed that there was, while they're friends and they've known each other for a long time, this sheriff used to be this judge's bailiff before he became the sheriff, right? So he was a deputy. He was the bailiff for Judge Mullins. Then I guess he got elected, and became the boss. He became the sheriff. So they've known each other for years. Families know each other. I mean, come on. You start there. So then after lunch, I think the judge was taking care of some other business. And then around 3 or so is when, and I have to look at the clock on the video, but around 3, the sheriff then leaves his office in the same building in the courthouse. May have gone somewhere else in the interim. There have been mixed reporting about that, but then goes to the judge's chambers and sits down, and they're having a conversation. And then the sheriff tries to call his daughter from his own phone, I guess unsuccessfully, then uses the judge's phone to call his daughter. And I think it may have been unsuccessful as well. And then, because we haven't seen that video, right? We've only seen this much of the video, and there's like that much of the video. And puts the phone down, stands up, and then starts confronting the judge. There's video, there's no audio of it. Norma Von Ormy saying, I'm on during the Sound of Music. The hills are alive. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't time these things. You can record it on your DVR, or if it's the Sound of Music, maybe you want to use your VHS recorder to record it. Anyway, I've never seen The Sound of Music, by the way. I just the one scene with the songs, right? With the song, The Hills Are Alive. That's all I know. Haven't seen it. And that's when he pulls out his weapon and takes out the judge. And I mean, from one spot, then walks over to another spot, and then on his way out, notices that the judge is still moving, and again, finishes the job. So that's where we are. Until tonight. So now there's another backstory, okay? The other backstory is what had previously, 2 years prior to this, I think it was about 2 years prior to this, had happened in the judge's chambers. The judge's current bailiff at the time, who was a deputy who works for Sheriff Mickey Steins. So Steins is the sheriff. He has a deputy, but the deputy is assigned to the judge as the bailiff. Okay, so it's someone who's connected to both of them, and he gets caught up in a scandal, ends up getting criminally prosecuted, and then fired from the sheriff's department for extorting favors from a woman in the chambers, in the judge's chambers after hours. Okay, and he's the only one charged with this. Nobody else has been charged with this criminally. I don't know what happened with the investigation, but he has been prosecuted, doing time, and it seemed like that scandal may have ended, may not have ended, and I believe, although I have not been able to verify it, that the reason that there is a camera in the chambers is because of that scandal. I don't think the cameras were there before the scandal. I think it was after the scandal. They put a camera in the judge's chambers, which is incredibly unusual, highly unusual, to actually put a camera. Because what happens in judges' chambers is there are things that happen, official court business. You can have a meeting with litigants. You can iron out a detail. You can be on the record with the court reporter in there. There's a lot but there was no audio. It's just video. But there are things that can happen, and it's someone's office. It's like the judge's private office, and the camera's rolling all the time. Wow, extremely bizarre and unusual. Extremely bizarre and unusual. Okay. But it's going to get more unusual, folks, because I'm going to play it for you. All right. We got a good number of people here. So I just wanted to wait for a couple more people to come in before I add it. So the Attorney General is the one investigating that scandal in the judge's chambers involving the extortion of favors. Now, it's all a product of, you have a lot of female defendants who are sentenced in drug court, and they're given the opportunity to not do time, to go on the ankle monitoring program. But when you go on the ankle monitoring program, you personally have to pay for the service, whatever, $200, $300 a month for the monitoring. So you get to be free, but it's going to cost you $2,400 a year, $2,500, $3,000, whatever it is, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's not cheap. Like that's a hit for a lot of people. That's a hit, right? That's a car payment. That's a hit. So, in lieu of paying, what the deputy was offering was a way to remain on your ankle monitor, but you'd have to pay in another way. And that's what he was doing after hours with, we believe, at least 3 women. One of those women is on recording talking. Okay. This is, again, being interviewed by the Attorney General's office. Court TV obtained this audio from the Attorney General's office of Kentucky. Because if you have a scandal involving law enforcement or the judiciary or whatever, right, you can't have the local sheriff investigate it. You got to bring in an outside agency. And generally, it's going to be either the Attorney General, the state police, someone like that. In this case, it was the Attorney General's office. Okay, so let me play the first part of this. I have 2 parts, but let's play the first part first.
But he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just with girls, sexual and stuff.
Okay, now he's not referencing the deputy. He's talking about someone else has these videos. Now, I don't know if she's named this person, but she's saying, and again, she's been a victim, right? So she is now providing her proffer to the Attorney General and is providing other information that she has. And she says this third party, who we don't know, has these videos from the chambers. Now, I don't think it's from the video camera that the latest crime in the chambers, the taking out of the judge, was recorded on, but I'm thinking it's going to be the cell phone. But let's listen.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, and just him having sex with girls for their bail to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups.
Whoa. Okay, Ben is the one who got prosecuted. But in this statement, this accuser / victim is saying some higher ups. Plural. Okay? Let that sink in. Ben, so it's the deputy who has, access to the chambers because he's the bailiff, etc., after hours, along with some higher ups. And the plural part should be resonating right now, okay? That's significant. So she is now describing who is engaging in this scandal, in this scam, okay, in this quid pro quo, the ankle monitoring. Scary. Here we go.
Up there.
Who?
Good follow-up. Who?
The judge and...
Now you saw the video.
Okay. She just said the judge. She just said the judge. She just accused this judge, who's the victim in the case with the sheriff, but in this other investigation, she's implicating the judge as one of the people engaging in this behavior with female inmates, quid pro quo for favors for the ankle monitoring program. That is some allegation. That's a huge scandal. Like without what, the reason we're covering all this, if that never happened afterwards, just this is an incredibly huge story. Huge story. What has me scratching my head is this recording is from 2 years ago. And nothing happened to the judge. He was still on the bench. No higher up was ever implicated. And the defendant, Ben, the deputy, I don't think has ever named anyone. Like, that would be your card to play. If you're being prosecuted for this, your card to play is, you're coming after me. Well, how about coming after the higher ups? But apparently he didn't name anyone. He didn't play that card. But she's naming them. And she's not saying that she did it. She's saying that there are tapes, recordings, and maybe it's something that everybody knew, but nobody did anything about. And could it be 2 years ago that the deputy felt like he was powerless to name the higher ups, that nothing would happen because they were the higher ups? Or she could be 1,000% wrong, but at a minimum, this should start a huge investigation, and an investigation by the AG's office, by the local bar association, by the state judiciary commission, all of that. And I don't know if all of that happened or not. I'm not sure. Got to do some more digging on that. Ask some more questions. Like, was there any follow-up to this explosive allegation? Explosive. All right, you've got a deputy who's, taking advantage of the situation. But the judge who's overseeing the case, the judge who controls literally the freedom of these defendants, the judge doing it in his own chambers? Really? Is that possible? That's what she's saying. I am not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt of it, and I still want more. I need to hear more, but this is the beginning of a huge, huge investigation that I hope and presume was done by the Attorney General's office, but also like the Judicial Commission and everyone else. This is enormous. Let's listen.
What did you see on the video? I mean,
I've seen Judge Walton have sex with a girl.
Boom! She just said, I saw Judge Mullins having with the girl on video. Like, she saw the video. A video, she says, actually exists of the judge and one of the inmates. Come on. What is going on in this small town? How is this even possible? Is it possible? Is she making this up? She's a criminal defendant, right? You got to take it with a grain of salt. She's apparently had some issues with substances. I get it. But she is now telling this to the Attorney General's office. I mean, they believed her when it came to the deputy. He was prosecuted.
Who was the girl?
I don't know. Because I don't know a lot of people from Robert.
Where was it at?
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
In his own chambers. Video of the judge in his own chambers. Now, is it possible that camera was there before and that's what we're talking about? I always presume that the camera was put there afterwards to protect the inmates and to make sure nothing happened inside those chambers. So where's this video coming from? What are we talking about here?
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was a judge in chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
She couldn't be clearer. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you that investigator is like, he's keeping his calm, but he's got to be thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on here? I mean, I already know that a deputy was doing this, but now you're saying the judge is doing this too? That is big. That is enormous. So when you look at that and you think of that, like everything is in play right now, by the way. All this is in play in my mind. Why? Because of what we saw on the video. Like if that can happen and the sheriff's deputy can be convicted for that's happening, I mean, why couldn't this be happening as well? I mean, I'm shocked, but should we really be shocked based upon the other things that were taking place there, the other behavior that is beyond. And maybe we start thinking that if this is happening, all of a sudden, why he was taken out, why he's being taken out, suddenly there's more in play. Like if the judge is engaging in the behavior, now there's more in play. It becomes more complicated. So now I want to go back, okay? I want you to listen to the sheriff's attorney, okay? To the sheriff's attorney. Before we do that, thank you to Gina. Thank you, Gina, for your support. Appreciate it. Awesome. Special Sunday night edition. Great to have you here. Let's take a listen.
Whether this is connected to the federal lawsuit he was a part of, is there any connection between these?
Okay. So he's being asked about the federal lawsuit. I just want to make this clear to make sure everyone understands the federal lawsuit. So that woman you heard in the recordings is represented by Ned Pillersdorf Law Firm. He's been on my show a bunch of times. They or she is suing Sheriff Mickey Steins in a federal lawsuit. There may be other defendants, but Mickey Steins is one of the big ones. They're suing the sheriff for what happened to her at the hands of the sheriff deputy in the judge's chambers. Okay? So the federal lawsuit goes back to this scandal that we're talking about tonight.
I think that the timing of what occurred is certainly something that is going to be a crucial point in this case.
The timing of what occurred. So what's the timing? Sheriff Mickey Steins, I think it's on Monday or Tuesday. I think it's Monday, is deposed, which means Ned Pillersdorf, his law firm, deposes Sheriff Mickey Steins. And it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable situation. The sheriff's got to answer questions. He's being deposed. And basically the allegation is that he knew that this was going on or should have known this was going on. And it wouldn't be outrageous for the sheriff to be sued because he's the boss, right? He's the boss of the man who did what he did with this accuser / victim who is now suing the sheriff because the sheriff was his boss. Well, if he's the boss, he knew what was happening inside there or should have known, right? So that's what they're talking about. And the sheriff had just been deposed, and I don't think it was a great experience for the sheriff. So the sheriff's deposed, and then something happens at that lunch, a couple days later, And then he ends up in the judge's chambers, and we saw what happened when he takes him out. But now, everything connected to this federal lawsuit all of a sudden may have a different meaning, different context, if the sheriff himself is taking part in that behavior. Let's listen to some more.
The timing of the deposition, amongst other things and other.
Amongst other things. Are those other things related to this, or is there something else going on? Or is it related to this whole scandal? Right? It's hard to imagine that the two scandals don't have some connection, right? They have to. This cannot be coincidental. You can't have these two crazy things happen within a couple of years of each other in the same place with the same set of characters, and there not be some sort of connection. Let's continue.
Background information that will complete that story, but I do, yes, to answer your question, I do believe that that is a piece. This is a large story that's a story that in some ways is difficult to tell. We look forward to sharing a more complete version of that as we go through this judicial process.
Maybe there's a missing piece. A missing piece to this whole story, right? He's telling us it's complicated. I get it. It absolutely is complicated. But, and it could have mental, and I still believe there's some level of mental health that is connected to all of this. But what is triggering this breakdown, I believe, of the sheriff's mind? What is the bigger part of the story that's connected? And after hearing this recording of this woman in the interview, suddenly it opens up. It opens up many possibilities based upon this conduct and how seedy and how low and how dark it really was, and what was taking place and who was involved and who knew. I've got more to play for you, but I'm gonna go to some comments and then go back to it a little bit. Mrs. B loves the hoodie, the allegedly hoodie. Thank you, Mrs. B. This is a Vinny Originale. Vinny Originale. I don't know if you can see the back here, but anyhow, yeah, we got some merch that's available that we'll talk about later. But yeah, glad you like it. Let's see. She jukes her. Maybe there's no private meeting. The sheriff just showed up. I think there was discussion about, not discussing what they were discussing in front of the other people who were there at lunch and to talk about it privately. But I don't know if an actual meeting was set up, but the sheriff did show up. And I think what happened was the sheriff shows up. The other people who are in the judge's chambers get up and leave. This will all be on the video, but we don't have the whole video. The other people get up and leave, and maybe even leave their backpacks there, because you see there's some stuff on the table. And I don't think it's the sheriff's. I don't think it is. I mean, it could be, but I don't think it is, because he didn't take it when he left. So I think some people got up and left. They were having some sort of a conference about a case or something. And then the sheriff comes in and has his meeting, sort of demands his meeting, is the way it was sort of described. All right. And Vicky from Virginia, who lives close by. Hello, everyone. This case gets darker every day. Yes, it does. It does get darker. A lot of people watching The Sound of Music. That's tough competition. Alita Sapien. I'm watching The Sound of Music right now. It's a classic. It's a classic. All right. And Gen X merch for 2025. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. But anyway, Gen X, part of our mod squad here on the program.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The mod squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The mod squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean.
All right, so let's behave, folks, inside the chat tonight. Gen X, Frankie Figs, Jennifer Stube, and over on Facebook, Ashley Bouchard taking charge of that insanity, right? That was, my Facebook turned into the Wild Wild West, including my personal page. It's out of control. But Ashley is at work. So thank you to all our moderators. So appreciated. So appreciated. All right. Let's see. A lot of people talk about the sound of music, which is good. I'm just going to try to not fall way behind here. Mm-hmm. All right. Laura Wagner pointing out that, yeah, the judge was smoking in chambers. Yeah. It's totally ridiculous, too. I would think so. You know, most government buildings in most states you can't, but maybe not in Kentucky. I don't know. I don't know what the local rules are, but we do know he had the cigarette in his hand in his chambers. Thank you so much. Ashley Oaks, cameras were put in because of those inappropriate situations. I thought so too. But now that I'm hearing about other videos, it's just making me like double think myself. Is that the best way to put it? Right? Like question myself. Like, could they have been there before? I don't think so. I mean, everyone walks around with a camera. So if things are happening there, people can record it on their cell phones. Let's see. All right, look at this. Twins VRGT. Finally caught alive. I'm glad you caught alive. I'm glad you caught alive. And we are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on X. Rhombohedral or rhombohedral. Bunga bunga. Yeah, exactly, right? That's exactly what it is, but it's not. It is, but it isn't, because it's not, it can't be consensual because of the quid pro quo in the relationship. So, but yeah, same idea. Mm-hmm. All right. And Kara Untapped. Whoa. So there's multiple people. That's what it's looking like. I mean, those are the allegations she's making. But why wasn't anyone else charged? Why is the judge still on the bench? Was it they couldn't figure it out? They didn't want to figure it out? What exactly was going on? And the other thing is, what was going to be uncovered and unearthed by this federal suit, right? Because in a federal suit, you go in and you depose people. So what else was going to be unearthed through this civil lawsuit? And we've seen, like in the Diddy case, civil lawsuit first, and then criminal charges followed. Well, here there were some criminal charges for one person, but if the civil suit unearths other potential offenders and evidence of that, you know, the AG's office could jump in and pick up a criminal case. So this was serious. So with this going on, is this creating more tension about the potential of criminal, not only like a civil lawsuit, but of criminal liability All right, Jennifer Sube reminding everyone to hit the like button when you come in. Hit the like button. Make sure you re-exit and follow and everything else like that. Mm-hmm. This is the big question from Amanda GC, right? She wasn't able to name the name. So maybe it was difficult to follow up with the investigation, but there are other ways you can go. Who showed that woman the videos? She does not name that person. Remember, she's in trouble because of substance abuse. So I'm sure it's people of that ilk. And maybe you know them, maybe you don't know them, that sort of thing, right? So she was not able to name those names. So that is a problem. It's a problem. And our friend Robert, good Sunday night, Vinny Politan. What a weekend and a night on the subway night. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Nancy Lane called it when the story first came out. She was on it. Oh, I like this from Synth Suber. You need to have Beth Jones and Hillbilly Crime. Love it. Love it. Beth Jones. I'm writing it down. Hillbilly Crime. I will follow up on that. We'll bring her on to Court TV. It's difficult to get people to talk. All right. Kitty Coo, please remember to be on all messages and not top messages. Absolutely. I scroll, like I start from the beginning and I scroll through, but sometimes I fall so far behind that I have to scroll quickly past some of them. So just so I could be closer to current. Let's see. Okie, finding my own way. Not in a small town courthouse. Everyone knows everyone. That's huge. That's huge, is that it's a small town. But I think the way it's playing is that the people who know are saying nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, let me play a little more from the recordings.
But you saw the video of the judge. Any other videos that you actually saw?
No.
Okay, so she says that's the only video she personally saw, okay? That's the only video she personally saw.
They say that the Sheriff Mickey Steins is involved. I don't know.
They say. So this group of people who have not been named, like the person who showed her the video and some of these other girls who are allegedly victimized, are now saying that the sheriff is involved. Now, don't forget this fact, okay? Don't forget this fact. The sheriff was the judge's bailiff before Bailiff Ben, the one who got prosecuted for this. So he had that bailiff's position prior to him having it, prior to him being elected as the sheriff of Letcher County.
Who said that?
Chad, he said he had videos with Mickey. And Mickey used to do the same thing when he was over house arrest.
All right, so Chad, let's get that name again. Chad, he said he had videos with Mickey. Mickey is the sheriff.
He had videos with Mickey. And Mickey used to do the same thing when he was over house arrest.
Okay, Mickey used to do the same thing when he was over house arrest. Meaning, when Mickey was a deputy, when Mickey was assigned to be the bailiff for Judge Mullins, he was the one who presided over, didn't preside over because only judges preside, but he was the one from the law enforcement, from the sheriff's office, who would oversee house arrest. House arrest, which is the ankle monitoring program. So they're saying that Ben was just continuing what Mickey used to do. Sheriff Steins. So now we've got both the victim and the defendant from the new case that we're covering involved in this prior case, according to this witness. Now it's hearsay and double hearsay and potentially triple hearsay, but it's enough to get a real investigation going. Okay? So that's significant. That is significant. That it's both guys. So now let's go back to that week. They're both doing it, but the sheriff is the one being deposed, and maybe does the sheriff knows that the judge is doing it too, and that we're all doing it, and we're all going down, and nothing's happening to the judge. Is that how these pieces are coming together? Now, let's not forget, okay? And this is the difficulty in putting this together, because there are pieces that don't necessarily fit. And in my mind, they only fit if the sheriff is suffering from some level of a mental breakdown. I'm not saying legal insanity. I'm saying a mental breakdown. When the sheriff turns himself in, like immediately, and is arrested, he said, "They're trying to take my wife and my kid." What on earth does that have to do with this scandal? How can you connect that to this scandal? How can you connect that to this scandal? That's the missing piece. And right now, the only thing I'm leaning on is the mental state, the mental breakdown of the sheriff, and then putting it together in his own mind when maybe they're not actually connected somehow, feeling all the pressure of the lawsuit and everything else. Or it's a red herring by the sheriff, but I don't think so.
Whether this is connected.
And this guy knows the story, the man in the middle, his attorney, but he's not saying. Like I said, those who know are not saying yet. All right. The Astro from space. Who was the girl? So the girl, she was in the drug program. She was on house arrest, ankle monitoring. The case was being presided over by the judge. The judge's bailiff is the one who was extorting her and then got prosecuted for it. And now she is being interviewed by the Attorney General's office, making a proffer of what she knows. And in saying what she knows, she has directly pointed the finger at the judge and the sheriff, both engaging in the same kind of conduct that she was a victim of by the current bailiff, Ben. This is so dark. Judy C. on X. Do you think a plea deal now or a trial to be had or too soon to tell? I don't know where prosecutors are going to go with an offer. But I think if they provide some offer that gives him an opportunity to get out in 10 years, I think there could be a plea deal. Absolutely. But if it remains as what it is now, the taking out of a public official, it is the highest of all charges. I don't see him pleading guilty to that because from his lawyer, we heard there's a story to tell. There's an absolute story to tell. Now that story may get you down to MS manslaughter, right? May get you down to there. And that may be the plea that they'd be willing to take. So I don't think a plea is off the table, but it's 1,000%, I think, in the hands of the prosecution, because I think the defense, if they're given something like manslaughter, would likely jump at it because everything is on video. Everything. And if he's convicted of the top count, he's done. So I think that's what we're looking at. So it depends on how all of that sort of develops over time. And I don't know if prosecutors know the reason yet. I don't know if prosecutors know the reason yet. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Gringa tonight, VP, this scenario even on your bingo card. No, it wasn't on my bingo card. No. And especially because of she's saying she saw a video, like an actual video. Like the judge allowed himself to be recorded on video. Is that possible? Yeah, everything is possible in this case. Everything is possible. Thank you, Gringa. Doris, it's nice to have some action from you on a Sunday. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Doris. All right, Colleen, yeah, your hoodie is pretty cool. Everyone's looking at this. All right, let me see if I can do this. Do I have this? One second. One moment. All right, I'm going to post in the chat. I posted a spot where you can get it. Different colors. I put it in the chat. Thank you. All right. Precious Culp with a super sticker and a super dog. Fantastic. Fantastic. By the way, we got 2,000 folks watching as we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X on a Sunday night, unexpectedly. But I've got to tell you about next Sunday. Oh, next Sunday night, it's the Tangent Christmas special. It's going to be an amazing show. We're going to start it at 8 o'clock. There'll be prizes. I've been spending some time putting some things together. It'll be me, Jonesy, and Al, the Tangent Christmas special. We were taking solicitations of your Christmas pictures, but we had to put a stop to that tonight. No more Christmas pictures. We've gotten so many, and we've got to put them all together to present in a nice way. Contests, special guests, surprises, prizes, all of it. The Tangent Christmas special next Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Lock. I don't care if the Sound of Music is on. I don't care if I don't care if Bing Crosby's on. You're watching the Tangent Christmas special, and you need to watch it live. All right, you need to watch it live. All right. Now back to the Mr. Murphy. Can we see the judge's phone records, calls, texts, etc.? No. If it was Florida, yes. Kentucky, I don't think we're seeing anything until we get to a trial, if we get there. Until we get to trial or there's a plea and it's all wrapped up, then we'll get more. I've got to think the AG's office did the investigation, right? You've got this woman who you believe, right, and who has been essayed, right? And now she's saying, I saw this, and everyone else says he's involved as well. Wouldn't there have been a criminal investigation already? But maybe not. Maybe the whole thing got swept. Could it have gotten swept under the rug? I can't imagine, but I guess anything is possible. I'd like to think, though, that when you bring in the state, the Attorney General's office, they're like, all right, we go wherever the evidence leads us. And if they did do the investigation, it led nowhere, meaning that it's either a false allegation or they're unable to actually uncover the evidence in the case. All right. Carrie Vance with a good question here. Why don't they just spill it already? Why is it all still hush hush? Okay, so a couple of reasons. A lot of the information will be coming directly from the defendant himself, right? And he'll communicate it to his lawyer. That is privileged. So under what circumstances would you reveal this information? You could reveal it in motion papers. You could reveal it in plea negotiations, which wouldn't be public, but would be at least be revealed to the prosecution if they don't know. I think that's the only place it's going to be revealed. They don't have the same open records that Florida and some other states have, where discovery is deemed public records. In Florida, the exchange of discovery is considered a public record, and under the Florida Sunshine Laws, the public has access to it. That's why the media usually gets it. Any member of the public can do it, but generally the media is the one who brings it to the public because it's their job, right, to investigate stories and tell stories. But it could show up in a pretrial motion, or he may keep it to himself and spring it on the prosecution at the trial. The defense is allowed to do that. They're allowed to do that. And sometimes it's more effective if the other side doesn't know what your defense exactly is, right? And that was kind of the case in the Casey Anthony trial. They kind of sprung it on the prosecution. Prosecution had ideas about some things because of the pretrial depositions that take place in Florida, but they really, right before the trial, sort of turned everything on its head. And that could be the strategy for the defense here, is that we have something, but there's no advantage to us to reveal it now. Now, the advantage to revealing it now would be to get it into the public discourse and the public discussion, and perhaps have members of the public supporting the sheriff. But I think you've got that already to a certain extent. There's people that are so curious. And I don't think the defense doesn't want to move out of this jurisdiction. So I think that's another reason why they may hold this evidence until the trial, because they don't want to have any jurors who would be persuaded by this evidence to be prematurely persuaded and then ineligible to be a fair and impartial juror. So that's my best explanation, Carrie Vance, as to why they're not spilling it already. Okay, some people are guessing what I had for dinner, which is interesting, right? It's Sunday. And Cheryl Mosley said I had a salad and pasta with a beer on the side. No, I'm type 1 diabetic. That would be straight up pasta is tough. But what I did do, I made a super thin tomato pie, I call it. It's like a flatbread or like a pizza, but super thin, right? So the carb count is lower. So it's got the sauce on it, and then just some Parmesan or Locatelli Pecorino Romano cheese on top. So a little tomato pie. I made some meatballs today, and then I topped it with a little eggplant Parmesan. So that's what I did today. That may help you in trying to lightly breaded eggplant Parmesan too. Again, to keep the carb count low. That may help you closer to the end of the show when it's time to guess my blood sugar. All right. Let's see. Christy Hauger, I love you, Vinny. Oh, I love that little baby too. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you so much. Look at that baby. All right. Did not drink beer. I don't drink beer. I don't drink any alcohol. Never have. Not one of my things. I think this is my drink when I want to drink. It's a Pepsi Zero. And I drink a lot of this too. Smart water. Got to stay smart. I'm smart. I know things. P. Daddy. No wine, P. Daddy. No wine. My father, my brother. Yeah, me, no. All right. I'm going to scroll to get a little more current on my things. I'm still a half hour behind. Okay, so Celeste Catron. Hey, Celeste. Did you have the pasta today, Celeste? Maybe the sheriff got fed up because he's being sued due to what the judge was doing. Right, like I could see that. And that makes sense. Now, I'm trying to make it make sense with his statement. They're trying to take my wife and my kid that he makes. I can't connect the two. But on its own, yeah. Like I'm being sued and you're the one, Judge Mullins, that is doing all this. You're getting me in trouble for this. You need to step up. You need to pay. Why am I paying? Why am I on the hook for this? Why is my reputation being soiled in the public? Why am I going to lose re-election now because of this? Right? Maybe that's what's going on. All right. I'm going to scrolling real fast now, so I'm just trying to get to everything. Kathy Guidry, something they said to the sheriff in the deposition made it feel like a threat to him. It was an uncomfortable deposition. Maybe what I need to do, we need to get a copy of that deposition. That's what we need to do. We need to get a copy of that deposition. Gen X reminding everyone, the Tangent podcast Christmas show, the Tangent Christmas special. It's big. It's big. Wanda 1 on Twitch. This looks like it's going to be one heck of a trial with a lot of dirty laundry for officials. Will you cover the trial personally if he does go to trial? Will I be going to Kentucky for this one? I think so. I think this is one where you got to go. You got to eyeball everyone. You got to walk around town, talk a little bit with folks. You know what I mean? You got to do just a little bit of that. You got to. I think that's the only way you can cover this. Court TV, obviously. All over it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, let me put this banner up. Some good comments, good conversation. Special Sunday night edition. We're an hour in. We're hovering around 2,000 folks watching live, which is awesome. Yeah, people are going back and forth between Julie Andrews and me. I get it. I the hills are alive. What are you going to do? The hills are alive. So Krenda Gray says there will be no plea. And, I generally agree, but the reason I say there's a chance if there's a sweetheart deal because you're backed into a corner, no matter what your story is. No matter what your story is, and it might be a case of you're looking for some sense of jury nullification, but whatever your story is, you're on video doing it. Like you can't get around that. So if there is an offer, 10 years parole, like parole eligibility in 10 years, something like that. If that's a possibility, because up until that point, he's leading a law-abiding life, we think, unless he was involved in this stuff. Unless he was involved in this stuff, right? Crazy. All right. I'm only 10 minutes behind right now. That's good. So I have one more thing I want to play for you. One more thing that I want to play for you. Okay. So let me set this up again. Ned Pillersdorf is on my show. He represents the woman on the recordings. Listen to what he told me. You'll see my reaction afterwards, but listen to what he told me.
After we filed the civil rights lawsuit that made sweeping allegations, once again, the defendants deny those, we really attacked the power structure. We said the sheriff's department knew or should have known of these dastardly sextortion allegations my client were making. At that point, my client was still being prosecuted by Fields and the prosecutor for bail jumping and escape.
Okay. Understand this. She's alleged, and the deputy was investigated, charged, fired, and prosecuted for it. And at that point, they were still prosecuting her for bail jumping or whatever. And that's directly related to her not complying or perhaps complying. I don't know if she refused or whatever to the sextortion. You following this? Like you're a victim of that. I'm extorting you for this. You're not doing it. So now not only are you now going to be locked up for your original charge, but now we're charging you for not complying. It's like you're getting charged for being the victim of sextortion. It's nuts. That is nuts. That is like off the wall nuts. Okay? Like an additional charge that is directly connected to the case where you're a victim. You're being charged for what you're being victimized for. This is nuts. That's why everything is on the table, folks. Everything is on the table.
And I briefly appeared in front of Judge Mullins, and I said, with all due respect, Judge, I think you need to recuse from this court hearing because we have filed a lawsuit in which we've alleged that the dastardly sex acts occurred in your chambers. At that point, it was about a 1-minute hearing. And if you read the transcript, it doesn't sound that bad, but Judge Mullins protested and pointedly assured me he could be fair and impartial and he didn't need to recuse.
There's an investigation into this judge's bailiff sextorting this woman in his chambers. She is charged with another crime related to that victimization. And this judge is not recusing himself from the case, refuses to let it up. Now, let me tell you why this is. Well, I'll finish watching this so you can see my reaction. Then I'll tell you why this is even worse than you could imagine.
And of course, I had an ethical obligation to my client. I said, I think you should recuse.
That's my reaction on the air.
And Judge Mullins did recuse. It was about a 1-minute hearing.
But he does have.
Okay. Let me go back to that moment. I just want to leave that up. Okay. Think about this. Why wouldn't the judge want to recuse himself? Once he recuses himself, now another judge has the case. And another judge now has jurisdiction and control over this defendant. If Judge Mullins has control of the defendant, is the defendant going to go after Judge Mullins? You see what's happening here? To me, this is, why would he not recuse himself? Because he wants to control how everything is happening. What this defendant woman is saying, who she's saying it to. I want to be able to hang this over her head to make sure she complies and doesn't rat me out. Like, there's a lot of nefarious reasons for not recusing yourself from the case, potentially. And if you are actually involved in engaging in the conduct, that is yet another reason to not recuse yourself from all of this. This was, I didn't think it could get bigger, but it did. It actually got bigger. He would not recuse himself from the case. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This is right at the end of my show. This case is unlike any case that we've covered. You know, there are unique cases for unique reasons, but this level of corruption running so deep in such a small, I guess it's akin to, you know, Alec Murdoch in the Low Country and what was going on down there, right? The level of corruption and the victimization of people who need an advocate. There is a big, and there's another controversy related to all this. There is a series of cases where these drug courts and this home arrest monitoring, where a lot of these women are being victimized. A lot are. This is not unusual. It's not only Letcher County. It's around the horn. It's everywhere, and it's also happened in cases of private prisons where you have issues like this sometimes that arise. So this is a problem, a real controversy, but all of this now becomes a huge backdrop for trying to answer the one question in the current case involving the sheriff taking out the judge, which is why. Now, in your minds, is there any way this cannot be connected? Like, it would defy logic that it's not connected in some way. It has to be connected in some way. We're missing a piece. We know we're missing a piece. The defense attorney has told us that we're missing a piece, but he has said that all of this is a piece of it. The timing is important. All right, let's get to some more. Jane, are you having Karen Reed as a guest next Sunday? Interesting, but no. Jim Rockford working on the files tonight. How'd it go from the investigation to what Vinny eats? Stay on top. It's always about what Vinny eats because most of these shows end with guessing my blood sugar. So tonight you got a lot more information than you normally get. A lot more than you normally get about what I ate. Okay, Karen, this is interesting, right? If you pay more than $2 for a bottle of Smart Water, it isn't working, right? You know what's interesting, Karen? I refill these about 10 times each. So I not only use the original Smart Water for my brain, but it makes me so smart that it makes me reuse these as water bottles. I refill them from my filtered water on my sink. Thank you, Karen. All right. Oh, big announcement. I'm doing a guest spot on the Jury Duty podcast next week. So make sure you subscribe to the Jury Duty podcast. All right. You got it, folks? Awesome. All right. Sheila K., my body can't tolerate sugar substitutes. I could see that. I get really sick. Sheila, yeah, some people, and you know what? For me, there are certain things in some of the special products for diabetics that I can't eat. But the sweeteners in most drinks, I'm usually okay with. Sometimes I've tried products. I think from Kroger was making these smoothies for a while, but there may have been something else in there as well. But yeah, it doesn't work for everybody. For me, if I drank full sugar juices all the time, I'd have to pump myself with so much insulin, and there'd be so much more potential for a high or overcorrecting and a low blood sugar that it's not worth it for me. But thank you, Sheila. Oh, Sheila. All right. Okay, Aaron C. on YouTube. I think this case is multi-layered and many things can be true at once. I've always thought the kidnapping statement leaned toward a break. The unanswered phone call made him think it was true. I mean, the sheriff is under a lot of pressure, especially if he was taking part in this as well. And this civil attorney is, putting him on the spot and is digging up a lot of stuff. You're looking at your professional life going, you're looking at your marriage potentially falling apart, and you're looking at potential criminal charges in addition to the civil lawsuit, which could cost you money depending upon if he has insurance or not to cover this. Likely not, though. So yeah, I think it can be multi-layered, and that's what maybe all these things happening at once created the mental break. And there could be a lot of anger focused on the judge if the judge was engaging in this and he's getting in no trouble and he's just skating through this whole thing, right? The call to the daughter from his phone and then from the judge's phone is just strange too. Big girl, how far back do these shenanigans go, I wonder? Well, if Sheriff Mickey was involved, and I say if because I've seen no evidence of it and he hasn't been accused, and there's been no public evidence of it other than this recording, which alleges some form of double hearsay. But if Sheriff Mickey was involved, it would have been more than 2 years ago before he was the sheriff, when he was the bailiff for Judge Mullins. Nicole Longo. Wow, my guess was no, you won't go to Kentucky. No, I'd go to Kentucky. I would go to Kentucky for this trial. I don't. You know, and I don't know how long trials are in Kentucky. But I think you want to get, this is going to be a big one. I mean, this is a big one. I don't think that this may not be Murdoch level, but this may be Karen Reed level, this trial. New Zealand, wife kicked him out, daughter somehow involved with dirty judge. So sheriff felt like he had nothing to lose. Well, the only thing is, though, his lawyer did say that he was living at home at the time. So he hadn't been kicked out. And if you look in the courtroom, his wife and daughter are seated behind him. And, you know, courtrooms are often like a wedding. You know, one side prosecution for the victim and one side is for the defendant, and they're sitting on the defendant's side. So I don't know. We're getting mixed information. All right. Only 13 minutes behind right now on this Sunday night. Delana on YouTube, the truth would be exposed at some point, I hope. Lauren Katie, the more we know, the more the judge seems very corrupt. Oh, it doesn't make him look good. But immediately, the local prosecutor who, do I have it? Let me see if I have it. 1 second. There's a video I may or may not have available here. Let me see. 1 second. Okay, here's the local prosecutor who seemed to stand up for the judge. He was friends with the judge, though.
Good morning, everybody. This is Matt Butler, your Commonwealth attorney in the 47th Judicial Circuit, which covers Letcher County, and I am sending out a video message this morning to discuss in more detail than I want to type everything related to my office and the tragic passing of Judge Mullins in the Letcher District Court yesterday. Many of you are aware of the close personal relationship I had with Judge Mullins. You may know, for example, that we, for many years, were married to a pair of sisters, that his daughters are my nieces, and that my two oldest kids are his niece and nephew. We were for many years on opposite sides of the courtroom from each other. He was the assistant Commonwealth attorney when I was the public defender. We had fierce litigation. I respected him. We fought hard for our respective sides in court and tried cases against each other before he was the judge, and never had a disagreement outside of that courtroom. We have always got along. I always thought he was hilarious. I always thought he was very witty. He was fun to be around outside of court. And as a brother-in-law, I will never forget how kind he was to my children. It seemed that he had maybe endless patience for kids. He found them entertaining. He loved them. He was kind to them. He would do anything for them. And everything that I'm going to talk about today is in the context of somebody that I will always appreciate and respect for how he treated my children personally, and how he was as a father to his beautiful daughters.
Okay.
Did recuse. It was about a 1-minute hearing.
Let me get back to the reaction. So that's the one who would have prosecuted the case, but had to recuse himself because of his connection to the victim, the judge, but speaking very highly of the judge. So I'm wondering if any of this conduct was taking place, would he have known? And if he knew, would he have done something about it? I mean, it's some wild stuff. This is like super wild stuff. right. I'm just about caught up. 8 minutes behind. And Ms. Joe from Philly sending some love. Vinny, I'm so interested in this case. Can't wait to get to the nitty gritty of it all. And I think we've gotten to the nitty, but it's the gritty that is still missing. It's the gritty that is still missing. And don't forget, folks, to tune into my show, Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 8 p.m. It's live. And then 9 o'clock, Vinny Politan Investigates. 2 hours of live true crime on television. All right. And look who's here. Where is it? Jury Duty Pod, Kimberly K. Our episode tomorrow won't be live, so you won't miss it, but it'll go up before midweek. All right. So before midweek, you'll see me on the Jury Duty podcast. I did just recently serve jury duty, as a matter of fact. So it's a good time to do that. Oh, look at this. Juan, maybe the judge, and this is on Twitch, was going to throw the sheriff under the bus, and the sheriff just lost it. Maybe. You got there's connection. The connection. Deanna Williams, are cameras going to be loud in the court case? Yes, unless there's a very unusual ruling. We've had a lot of success through the years. The rules are very good in Kentucky in allowing transparency and allowing the public to see the trials. Yes, Cheryl Mosley in Kentucky, they do have that, which is from his own perspective, he's so upset that he engages in the conduct. Like, he's so upset, whatever it is, which is why originally we were thinking, he had just found out that the judge was with his daughter, right? That's where all the rumors were. Those rumors have been shot down. And it doesn't seem like any connection was made on the phone calls. So that being said, there's other ways to get there, but yes. All right. All right. And Ashley Bouchard, who is our moderator on Facebook, don't forget to mark your calendars for the Tangent Christmas special. That's right, folks. Sunday, 1 week from today, 8 o'clock Eastern. Oh, yeah. Trivia, surprises, prizes. Yeah, it's going to be off the hook. It's going to be off the hook. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's like a Christmas party. Have you been to your office Christmas party? That's what it's going to be like. It's going to be like going to your office Christmas party back in the 80s. That's what it's going to be like. Okay, so I am completely current. Thank you, everyone, for the amazing comments. So it's that time of the show where me, as a type 1 diabetic, will now be asking you to guess my blood sugar. Okay, I told you what I ate, but I ate early today. I didn't eat it like 6 o'clock. I ate early. I was eating around 3 o'clock or so, 3 to 4 o'clock. All right, so it's time for you to guess my blood sugar.
Here's the type 1. Here's type 1. His pancreas is on first.
Close,
He
Miss
has diabetes, type 1 juvenile diabetes. And so it's time to guess, is more or less.
Close, hippie.
What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? Under 70, he gets laced head. Under 60, all the alarms start ringing. Over 180, he starts to get lethargic. But when it's 90, Vinny, eyes are singing.
Close, Doris.
And so it's time to guess, is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? But take a guess. Yes, take a guess. Let's guess Vinny's blood sugar now.
Oh, all right. So far, I haven't seen anyone yet.
Here's the type 1. Here's type 1.
They will come very close.
His pancreas is on the fritz. He has diabetes, type 1
Close,
juvenile
Ashley.
diabetes.
Close, Karen.
So it's time to guess,
Close.
is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? Under 70, he gets laced head.
Wow. I guess it's just not
Under
a common
60, all
number.
the alarms start ringing. Over 180, he starts to get lethargic. But when it's 90, Vinny, eyes are singing. And so it's time to guess, is more or less.
Wow, this is the longest
What's
one
his
so
blood
far.
sugar? What's Vinny's
Two
blood
runs of
sugar?
the song.
But take a guess.
P. Daddy!
Yes, take a guess. Let's guess Vinny's blood sugar now.
Way to go, P. Daddy. P. Daddy. And if I missed it, I apologize, but I didn't see a 129. I saw a bunch of 128s. I think the even numbers are more popular with the guesses. I'm just scrolling here to see if anyone else got it a little bit after P. Daddy. Yeah, 129 is just, I guess, one of those numbers that just doesn't roll off the tongue. People were dancing all around it, all around it. I didn't see one. I saw 130s and 128s. A lot of 130s, a lot of 128s. All right. I've scrolled through, I think, all of them here. A lot of 128s and 130s. The P. Daddy was the first and maybe the only one. Look at that. I don't see what else on it. All right, folks. So I'm going to rope. I was a little bit behind, I guess, in the numbers, too. There's so many guesses. Wow. They just keep coming. I scroll as quickly as I can see them, and it's hard to stay up with it. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching on Facebook. Please share it. On YouTube, please like, please subscribe. Twitch, make sure you're following. X, make sure you're following and re-Xing it. Lots of cool stuff. So I'll see you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. What else we have? I think that's it. That's it. And yeah, that's it. So that's all, folks. That's all we got. I mean, an hour and a half. It's after 10 o'clock. It's time to go to bed. The hills are probably still alive with the sound of music. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my moderators, Frankie Figs, Jennifer Subay, Jen X, and Ashley Bouchard. And thank you for all the super chats and for the great comments. Have a great night, everyone. And I'll see you next time. Don't forget to hug the kids.
Get ready, get set, let's go. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's City Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's City Live. Get ready. So post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set. To like and to subscribe, let's go. It's time for Vinny Live.